Mashable adding that non-white creators are historically offered fewer opportunities than white creators and make less money when they do get opportunity. That makes an offer from a brand like SHEIN a very exciting prospect and much harder to turn down. And actually with that, Danny DMC, who has kind of become this main character of the controversy, she posted a now deleted video where she said that as a plus-size creator, she does have fewer opportunities, and this was the first company to take her on a brand trip, saying she is often underpaid, but SHEIN didn't underpay her. Notably explaining all this when she announced she signed a deal with SHEIN to help them debunk rumors about the brand. So yesterday, she posted a video on Instagram talking about how this trip came to be, and then saying,
the first part I can definitely take accountability for is I should have done more research. And I think content creators in general, we don't do enough research. And I think especially plus size content creators, we're just so happy to be included and, see our size and be able to wear their stuff, that it gets, it can cause issues because you're not doing enough brand research. And that's definitely where I can take accountability. I should have done more research.
You also had SHEIN responding to the backlash, telling NBC News that it, quote, is committed to transparency. But yeah, with all of that, what are your thoughts? Let me know in those comments down below. And then I've got a D-bag of the day for you. Or when you get hacked online, if you go to the police, you assume, hey, they're gonna help me, not hack me again. But for a number of women in Louisville, Kentucky, they say that's exactly what happened, with a lawsuit alleging that Brian Wilson, a former cop there, used police department resources to harass, hack, stalk, and extort around 20 women for years. So he had allegedly used the police database to find hacking victims, then hack into those online accounts himself and steal their nudes, with him then texting the victims and using the photos as blackmail to extort even more nudes from them. And when this happened to the plaintiff in this suit, who's a teacher, he allegedly threatened to send the photos to her friends, family, principal, school board, and even district superintendent. And so she immediately contacted the sex crime unit for the same police department Wilson allegedly hacked her from, though of course she didn't know it was him at the time. But despite calling over 10 times, she never got a response. And Wilson actually ended up sending photos to one of her friends, with the whole thing emotionally devastating her and even leading her to contemplate taking her own life. But with this, pretty soon the FBI got on his case. And on top of everything else here, they found dozens of pictures of him exposing his penis while on duty and often in uniform. And so now he's currently serving a 30-month sentence in federal prison after pleading guilty both to stalking women and throwing slushies at people from unmarked police cars. Which I will say, no wonder so many people don't feel safe. 30 months for a cop exploiting his position, terrorizing victims who were already victims? And then people just won't stop throwing stuff at celebrities. That's what tons of people were saying this morning when videos were going viral of Logan Paul and KSI getting pelted by supposed fans with their own drink. Y'all, here's the thing. It was fake. Though to clarify, not fake in like the value of a Logan Paul NFT, but rather the value of Logan Paul in the WWE. It happened, it was entertaining to watch, but it was pre-planned.
Throw your empty bottle at us.
Not yet. We need to make it look like you guys hate us, all right? Drink pride!
With that clip coming from Oslo after they went to Copenhagen, and notably, they just so happen to get pelted right as he's shouting, "Drink Prime."
Drink pride!
And so with a few people that have noticed this as a recording, there have been kind of two different reactions. One being, oh, these marketing geniuses, where so many people and organizations were sharing that video. It's gotten so many millions of views, so much free promo. But on the other hand, you had some saying this further normalizes throwing shit at celebrities, which unfortunately has been a niche vertical of news that has happened over and over. So I guess really the only question is, which camp do you land in here? And then, the summer months are here, and that means travel is spiking. With that, did you know that when you're looking for the best rates on flights, hotel rooms, rental cars, things like that, companies may increase prices for returning website visitors, with them hoping that you'll purchase then as a fear of, oh my God, the prices may continue to rise. And sometimes hotels and airlines can offer cheaper tickets to people in their home country. Alternatively, prices spike when interest from the same country increases suddenly. But the sponsor of today's show, NordVPN, or more directly, nordvpn.com/PhillyD, can help. Because Nord encrypts your network and allows you to route through one of their many servers around the globe. Primarily we think of VPNs as additional privacy and a security layer, but consider using them to save on your holiday. Simply connect to another region or country server and see what's available and how prices change. You may end up being very surprised to see the difference. And then when you're on your trip and you're on public Wi-Fi, Nord does its main job of keeping your online activity secure wherever you log on. So go see what savings you can find. Start with nordvpn.com/PhillyD to get a huge discount on a 2-year plan plus 1 month free. And the deal at nordvpn.com/PhillyD is only around for a short time, and it's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. And then
I think we can probably, right?
I don't know, we'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to
trying to
Declassified.
figure out yeah.
See, as president, I could have declassified
Yeah.
it. Now I can't, but this is
Yeah,
classified.
now we have a problem.
Isn't that interesting?
My man Trump knew he was being recorded and was like, man, the crimes I'm criming that I know that are a crime, whoo, wild. Right before, we had the transcript regarding Trump mishandling classified documents. With that evidence being recorded when he did an interview in July of 2021 with an author for an upcoming book while 2 staffers were present. And to expand on that clip from the now released audio, you had Trump saying he found a senior military official's plan of attack for a foreign country, with it being widely acknowledged that he's talking about former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, and Iran, because it had previously been reported that Milley had stopped Trump from striking Iran in the last few days of his presidency. And this released audio is especially damning for Trump, because in addition to the clip I already played being clear evidence that contradicts Trump's previous argument that he had declassified all the documents that he took when he left the White House, is that another of Trump's claims is that, hey, I didn't actually even show a document at all. Right, when Bret Baier interviewed and devastated Donald Trump, where among other things, he read the part of the indictment back to Trump and asked why he had the Iran document if he knew he couldn't declassify it, Trump responded,
there was no document. That was a massive amount of papers and everything else talking about Iran and other things. And it may have been held up or may not, but that was not a document. I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and articles.
But in the audio, which is basically an extended version of exactly what was included in the transcript, it really makes it seem like Trump is talking about a specific document and one that is classified. And what's more, it also confirms that Trump was in fact talking about Milley and the reports that he had prevented Trump from striking Iran. With this other snippet of the recording starting out with a staffer seemingly referring to reports that top generals, including Milley, were worried Trump would attempt a coup after the 2020 election, something Trump has also publicly attacked Milley for, and the staffer appearing to claim that it was actually Trump administration officials that had tried to launch a coup against Trump before he even took office, with Trump responding,
Well, with Milley, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look. This was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him. Wow. We looked at him. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All sorts of stuff. It's pages long. Look. Wait a minute. Let's see here.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, Except it is like highly confidential, secret. This is secret information. But look at this.
right? So when you hear everything, it makes absolutely no sense to say that Trump was talking about newspapers and magazines. Well, despite how absolutely damning this appears, his spokesperson actually claimed the recording, quote, provides context proving once again that President Trump did nothing wrong at all. And instead just going on to focus on a back and forth that happened where they were talking about Clinton and Anthony Weiner without addressing the actual substance at all. The president is speaking rhetorically and also quite humorously about a very perverted individual, Anthony Weiner, who is deep inside the corrupt Clinton campaign. The media and the Trump haters, once again, were all too willing to take the bait, falling for another Democrat DOJ hoax, hook, line, and sinker. And then, y'all bitches is thirsty. Also, when I say y'all, I mean that in the royal sense, all humanity. Also, to further clarify, I'm not talking about those desperate Tinder messages, though maybe we need to talk about those too. But we'll save that for a different day, because today we gotta talk about how humanity has pumped so much groundwater out of the earth that we have literally changed the planet's tilt. Right? In addition to things like rainfall, rivers, and lakes, we get roughly half our drinking water and a quarter of our irrigation water from underground reservoirs called aquifers, which are estimated to contain over 1,000 times more water than all the surface rivers and lakes in the world. But when we take it out of the ground, we slowly shift the distribution of mass on Earth. And as reports have explained, the whole thing is moving like a top. So if you move enough mass from one place to another, the planet will wobble as it spins. And with that, there was actually a study that calculated that between 1993 and 2010, we removed a total of 2,150 gigatons of groundwater, which, to give you some context, and honestly, it still fails, that's enough water to fill 860 million Olympic swimming pools. And all of that shifting the Earth's tilt 31.5 inches eastward. Plus, over the same 17-year time period, researchers found that groundwater pumping caused a quarter inch of global sea level rise. And that's because rivers and other pathways carry all the water into the world's oceans after we consume it. And that's one of the reasons why scientists say that better managing our groundwater consumption can actually help mitigate climate change. And like with a lot of things here, it's connected. In turn, stopping climate change can help mitigate groundwater depletion. Because when you have fewer droughts and more reliable rainfall, it reduces our need to pump water from underground. But one of the challenges here is that aquifers take a long time to refill, and in many parts of the world, they've been sucking theirs dry for decades. Like in California's Central Valley, for example, where growers have been pumping more water than can be naturally replenished for some 60 years now, which forces the wells to drill deeper and deeper. And so the main point of that story is, isn't that weird? Just another way human activity is warping this planet. And feel free to use this information in your next conversation where there's a lull and you're talking to some heathen who doesn't watch the Philip DeFranco show? And then the 9 God Kings that we call Supreme Court justices woke up today and were like, hey, let's not single-handedly upend American democracy. And well, it seems like, yeah, that should be the default. That should be like, we shouldn't have to applaud for that. But this specific and highly conservative Supreme Court, nothing's guaranteed. And this incredibly consequential and controversial